how much does it really cost to build a barndominium? In today's show, we're going to compare the cost of hiring a pro versus self-building. How much money can you really save? You're going to find out. We're going to have real-time counters as this build goes along. We're going to give you tips throughout the video, and at the end, we're going to tell you how we can help you build your barndominium. The barndominium that we're going to be talking about today is called the Cedar. This is a build I did last summer here in south central Iowa. All of the specs are on the page. If you guys are interested in the full playlist where I give step-by-step tutorials on how to build this, how much time it takes, check out the link above. In the upper left-hand corner, you'll see the red counter. That's going to be what this build actually cost with me building it. The yellow counter is what it cost if you were self-building it. That's basically with all of the labor removed. The green is basically labor costs or your savings. And then in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to see the counter, which is the man hours that I had in completing this structure. We will cover at the end what was done by other contractors, the costs associated with that, and give you a full total on this build at the end. We have completed the structure, so the whole entire outside of the build is done. All the underslab is done, concrete is in, spray foam is in, and all of the interior framing is in. And we are at 241,000 and some change. So that is basically a turnkey up to this point. If you were self-building this and you took all of the labor out, you would be at 166,000 and some change. Right now, we're at about $75,000 in labor. And I'm just being transparent. Some of you might be like, oh my gosh, that's so much money. And others might say, hey, that's not that much money. So there's a lot that goes in here. This build was also quite a ways away from any major city. When you are in a spot like that and you have to hire something out, it's going to cost more because it costs more for the contractor to get there. So keep that in mind. But we still have a ton of stuff left to cover. This project is all done. We've done a complete walkthrough tour of this. You can check that out at the link above right now. But one thing outside that we haven't covered yet is the septic. And where we are here in Southern Iowa, how it works is you get a perk test, and then based on that perk test, they will tell you what kind of system you can have. Can you have a conventional system? Do you have to have a sand filter system, peat moss system? This one in particular has a sand filter, and that system costs $15,800 installed. That's labor, that's all the materials, all that good stuff. So we have $15,800 in the septic. Plumbing for underslab and finish was roughly $10,000. Electrical, rough in and finish was $14,000. This house ended up with a mini split system. I think there is 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 heads. That system was $12,000. That includes labor. Then there's the hydronic controls, boiler. That was $12,000 installed. The drywall was $26,041. That's smooth walls with knockdown ceilings. This phase totals $89,841, and this basically encompasses all of the trades. When Emily and I self-built, I completed all of these, and you can safely assume that you can save 40% on these trades. So if I take 40% of that $89,000, that's $35,936 roughly in labor. I think it's a little bit higher, but you can safely use that 40% to give yourself a good idea on what you could save. So for the self-build total, it'd be around $53,905. So with both the first phase, which was the structure, and then phase 2, we're at a total of $330,877. So if you're not overwhelmed yet, we're going to go into the last phase, which is finishing all of this out. Our client shared their all-in budget with us, and they said it was $385,000. Now, they did have a building that was on their property painted. They did add some concrete after the fact, had a little bit of extra dirt work. So there is some things in that total that aren't going to be in here. Major thing in the finishing, the kitchen cabinets, bathroom cabinets were $13,884, which roughly leaves $40,000 in that budget to complete painting, finish carpentry, interior doors, stair railings, fireplace, appliances, countertops, backsplashes, concrete finishing, carpet, window treatments, toilets, sinks, all that kind of good stuff. I'm not going to break all of that down individually because that is a lot of stuff. And at this point in your build, you can go a lot of different ways. But this will give you a really good idea. All right, guys. So if that's not overwhelming enough, some things that we haven't talked about yet is land. What does land cost in your area? I didn't include that because this is a wide range here. The client that I built this on, they have owned this property for the last 20, 25 years. So he had already paid for this land a long time ago. Here where we live in south central Iowa, we're about 35, 40 minutes from Des Moines. You can't touch a piece of property for less than $10,000 to $15,000 an acre for 10 acres or less. So you have to look at that as well. What are you going to have to spend on land costs? Permitting. In our patron group, we have patrons that spend $20,000, $30,000 in permitting. Now, those people are living close or within city limits, so that is going to substantially increase your costs. Here where we are, we will usually end up somewhere around $1,000, $1,500 in permitting costs, which is not bad in my opinion. All right, guys, so some of you are probably sitting there thinking, man, this seems so overwhelming. It seems so out of reach. And the first thing we need to talk about is if you guys are serious about building a home, whether it's a post frame, stick frame, or steel frame home, without a plan, it's not going to happen. You have to have a very good plan of action, and then you have to take steps in order to reach those goals. Another thing that you need to ask yourself are, what are the things that I could actually do? All of our skill sets are different. Some of you might be able to build the structure, but you couldn't do the electrical and plumbing and HVAC. Some of you might be the reverse of that. Some of you might be able to do all of it. So those are things that you have to take into consideration. We self-built our own barndominium, for those of you who don't know, and we built 95% of it ourselves. We worked probably 10, 12 years before we got to this point, planning, saving, remodeling other homes. And then when we got here, we had a good plan on how we were going to accomplish this. We knew that we can afford to pay somebody to do the whole thing. After we self-built, we started custom designing barndominiums and building for other folks. So we've been general contractors, builders, subs, we've done it all. And with all of that information, we've taken it and compiled it into useful resources to help people like you that really want to get out on your piece of property or find a piece of property and build your barndominium. So we have a planning guide. We own back 40 buildings. We have a Patreon group that is dedicated to people that want to self-build, self-GC. And so we have lots of resources for you to help. So if you want to check down in the description, we'll have links to all that stuff. But the best place to start is with our barndominium planning guide, because that is a 115-page document that Emily took all of our knowledge and put it into this document that covers anything from land acquisition to what kind of home is even right for us. Is a post frame home right for us? Maybe you are better off with a stick frame or a steel frame. It covers all of your budgeting. It covers everything you need to know to get started and have a plan. There's spaces where you can fill in information. It's an editable document, so you can change things as you go along. We have budget sheets. If you use our design services, we provide that planning guide with all of our plans. So if you buy a set of plans from us, we provide those so that you can have a good working document to get yourself in the right direction. Also, our Patreon group is a very, very valuable resource. For less than 1 hour it costs to consult with me, you can have an entire year access to me, to Emily. We do lives, we bring on special guests. We have an unbelievable community of other self-builders and self-GCers that you can communicate with and share your build, ask questions. It's just been an amazing, amazing group, and it's just getting better and better. So if you guys are really serious about building a barndominium, you need to check out the links in the description to our resources. It really is a small investment that will help you save thousands of dollars on your overall project and help you get through it. What are the right things to do at the right times? As always, we appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, share us with your friends, and we will catch you on the next video.